Today's Tuesday Bro Tuesday live stream will be starting in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tuesday Bro Tuesday live stream. You know, this used to be a live call-in show, and it's probably never going to go back to that. But what a glorious, awkward 3 weeks that was. Does anybody remember that when we were doing call-ins? Man, that was good times. Super awkward, super good times. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe it will go back to that someday. Who am I to say anything? But this is the show. This is the live stream where we talk about the news. We unpack some news as it relates to vaping, tobacco harm reduction, things like that. That's what we talk about over here. And the first thing I want to do, I just want to shout out Addy Tooney real quick. Addy Tooney's in the chat. We know and love Addy Tooney. He says, hope you and Pickles' week is going good so far. Seems like every day there's a new struggle. Hang tough, brother, man. I appreciate that, Addy Tooney. I'm actually feeling pretty good these days. Feeling a lot better these days. It does seem like every day there's a new struggle to deal with. It seems like every day there's more weird, ambiguous news and just attacks on vaping, attacks on harm reduction. We're living in a clown world right now. Just a complete and total clown world. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes we do end up getting a little bit political on this show. I try to steer clear of a lot of divisive topics, but right out of the gate, I say this every time. Freedom guy. Freedom guy. Freedom guy. I'm a freedom guy. I'm a registered libertarian, so that's the lens that a lot of this news is going to get viewed through, so to speak. But welcome, everybody in chat. Welcome, Legion Vapes. I see you there. I see Jeremy V there. Appreciate you being here. Lady Liberty is here. Green-Eyed Lady is here. Ben's here. The Rising Phoenix Vapory. How did it go? How did it go? You know what I'm talking about. How did it go? He said earlier he had to, deuce out number 2. Hope that I couldn't stop laughing, bro. I saw that in the chat. I just could not stop laughing. Couldn't stop laughing. But thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to talk about some news today. We're going to talk about some news today as it relates to vaping. We're going to talk a little bit about why public health has just become a joke and why Colorado is following in line with California and why Colorado has just become a joke. It's crazy to me. It's insanity. I guess we do have to mention the sponsor of this Tuesday, Bro Tuesday. Take it away.
Vaping is better than smoking. Technically, yes. But so what?
I'm basically going to play that every live stream that I have. Every single live stream that I have, because we need to remember that Cuomo is kind of a shitbag. He admitted in a press conference, vaping is better than smoke. Technically, yes. Period. That's where it should end. So what? That so what is haunting me. That so what haunts me in my dreams. I just picture Governor Cuomo's giant face just hovering above me going, so what? So what, GrimmGreen? So what? Vaping has helped millions, I don't know, more millions and millions of smokers get away from traditional combustible tobacco cigarettes. But so what? So what? That part of the puzzle doesn't fit the Cuomo agenda. So he just so what's it off into existence. And that makes me insane. I don't want us to forget that. And I don't want anybody else to forget that. Don't want anybody else to forget that. What did I miss in the chat? What happened, Advocate for Liberty? I'm going to be on your show this weekend. I hope you're doing okay. I'm going to go back here in the chat and try to see what's going on, but I didn't see anything. I just saw some condolences happening, and I hope you're okay, my man. Hope you're doing okay. I'm going to be on 3 terms there, Logan exhales. That's what he's telling. 3 terms we've had Cuomo. That's too long. That's too long. It haunts me. It haunts me.
Vaping is better than smoking. Technically, yes. But so what?
But so what? So what? So what do you mean, so what? What do you mean, so what? Is driving in your car with a seatbelt better than driving in your car without a seatbelt? Technically, yes. So what? So what? I'm always going to play that. I just have to play it because I don't want us to forget what he said, and I don't want him to forget what he said. And as always, I'm going to plug the nysva.org. If you're in New York State, get connected with the NYSVA. They got some calls to actions about what's going on in New York, what we can do to maybe stop this flavor ban, maybe reverse this flavor ban, this vape ban. You know, I know for sure they're working tirelessly. And here's the thing about a lot of these advocacy organizations that I think all of us need to remember is NYSVA, the Tennessee Smoke-Free Association, the VTA, CASA. These are all small, literal grassroots groups. CASA has one singular full-time employee. That's it. Just one singular full-time employee. So they always need money. They always need help. I always retweet their stuff. I always, help out CASA as much as you can. I've been supporting CASA for years and years and years and years and years. Myself and Julie, one of the founders of CASA, we go way back to like 2009. Like she started vaping right around that same time that I did. She was one of my first subscribers back in the day. I got to meet her very early on. And as long as I've ever known Julie from CASA, she's been advocacy minded, advocacy centric. She's just a hard ass, and I love her, and I'm glad she's on our team. An Advocate for Liberty in the chat says, link to my brother's prayer link is in Discord. If you could post it in chat, I'd appreciate it. I want to overwhelm him with kindness. Funeral for my niece is right now. Oh, Advocate for Liberty. Where in the Discord, man? Where'd you put this? An Advocate for Liberty. Here it is. It's time to share this absolutely in the chat. I'm going to get rid of the mobile version of it here. Whoops. I deleted one too many things. Oh, come on now. Here, I'm just going to post the mobile version of it. I'm really just sorry here to say that. Would everyone take a please minute to say a prayer for our little girl, Penelope Eve, who has made her trip home to be with the angels and whom are looking down on us. We love you more than anything, baby girl. You will forever be in our... Oh my God, this is heartbreaking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, an advocate for liberty. I love you, man. Chin up. I'm so sorry to hear that, Liberty. I love you, bro. Greetings from the United States of America. There, Rossi from Germany. Appreciate you being here right now. I don't even know what time it is in Germany right now. That's insane to me that you're here. But I appreciate you being here. So apart from Governor Cuomo, I want to make sure that this still works. Okay. Apart from Governor Cuomo, I did have a few things that I wanted to talk about today, as per usual. We're going to be going over why do I hate the American Cancer Association? It's because they're silly. They're silly, and they changed their stance on vaping, and I don't know why. You can speculate as much as you want as to why they did it. I just don't know why they did it. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. We're actually going to be going over, thanks to Charles Gardner, PhD. I want to shout him out. We're going to be going over what basically every public health org that has reviewed the evidence says about vaping nicotine. Like, literally, where does everybody stand on this subject? Let's do a couple of these super chats here. One of them just dropped off. The Irishman says, can So What be by Metallica be Cuomo's theme tune? He's probably done everything in the lyrics too. Here's the thing. Yes, it can be, but The Irishman, The More You Know, that was a Misfits song. The Metallica just covered that song, originally written by Mr. Glenn Danzig and the Misfits. Metallica just covered it. But so what? So what? Vaping with Super Clouds. I get to see your super chat over here. Hey, Nick, Johnny from Vaping with Super Clouds YouTube channel. Good day from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Well, good day to you from California, United States. We're actually going to be talking a little bit about, in the news and advocacy segment for the vlog on Thursday, I got a little bit of Australian updates. We talked about breeze tones and getting a nicotine prescription and how that whole thing went. But we're going to unpack a little bit more from Australia. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're staying safe. Matt Sinister. Cheers, Nick. My love to you and Casey. I just have to say, could Matt Sinister go to jail for powerbombing Governor Cuomo? Technically, yes. But so what? I would pay dollars. I would pay dollars to see that. In like a sanctioned match. It could be, like a no holds barred match. It could be Hell in a Cell. I would pay to see that. Cuomo, we could raise some money, get Governor Cuomo in the ring with Matt Sinister, Hell in a Cell. No questions asked. No questions asked. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. And I guess the first thing I wanted to mention was, I don't know why Colorado's terrible. I've never had a reason to be mad at Colorado. It seems like they've always been, I'm being corrected. Hang on. Before we get to this, Southern Comfort is correcting me. No. So what? That's what he's referring to. It was originally an Anti-Nowhere League song. Anti-Nowhere League song. Really? It predates the Misfits? That's crazy. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to have to look into this. I didn't know that. I've only ever heard the Metallica version, and then someone told me, oh, that's a Misfits cover, so I heard the Misfits version, and then that's kind of where it ended because I just assumed that Misfits wrote it. Thank you for correcting me. Anti-Nowhere League. Anti-Nowhere League song. Well, there you go. The more you know. See, I should have the little rainbow with the star, the more you know. 90s kids know what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about California. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know, not California, Colorado, as it were. I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's going on in Colorado right now. Actually, hang on. Before we get to Colorado, we need to do this. Ray Yates. We need to mention Ray Yates one more time. His GoFundMe is getting up there close to $7,000. He only needs $10,000. He only needs $10,000 literally to stay alive because the Nova Scotia government, wants him to be dead, wants him to die, wants him to not have oxygen because he quit smoking with vaping. And that's unacceptable. I think that's unacceptable, completely unacceptable. And so we're trying to save Ray Yates, 49 years old, huge advocate. In spite of everything that's happening in his life, he is still an advocate for vapor products. And we need to save Ray Yates. So that's where we're leaving this. Hashtag save Ray Yates. I'll have a link to his GoFundMe. I just threw it in the chat right now. Hello to you, Lando. Thank you for being here. I put his link in the chat. I'm going to put his link in the description down there. Save Ray Yates. Save Ray Yates. So I guess now we're going to talk about Colorado. And I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's going on in Colorado, but I know there is a House Bill 1427 that is, you know, what do they like to do? Tax things, right? Tax things, overly tax things. And the logic behind taxing cigarettes is to dissuade use. They want them to be expensive so that addicted smokers will just say, no, that's too expensive. I guess, oh, shit, good call. Good call there. There it is. Tuesday Bro Tuesday logo. Now you know what show you're watching. Now you know what show you're watching. I just like having that quick little zoom feature. That's kind of my favorite thing of all time. So like I said, I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's going on in Colorado right now, but I know there is Bill HB 1427, and they're taxing everything. Taxing vaping, taxing chewing tobacco, taxing cigarettes. And the reasoning behind these taxes, like I said, is to dissuade use. So expensive, smokers will just say, nope. Or smokers, they hope, they believe for some reason that smokers will just say, nope, I'll just quit now because my cigarettes are way too expensive. Just way too expensive. That is truly and honestly never the case with taxes. What happens when they tax hike cigarettes is that people will just sacrifice other things in order to continue to smoke cigarettes. They'll sacrifice other niceties and things that they need in their life in order to afford these ridiculous cigarette prices and these ridiculous taxes on cigarettes. They impact minorities, minorities, people of color, lower income people. They'll just spend their money on cigarettes regardless of how high the taxes go. And Colorado, sorry, I interchange them so much because they're becoming basically the same state. Colorado is taking a page out of California's book and making it so that vapor products, these wonderful little things right here that have helped millions, literal millions and millions of people across the globe quit smoking combustible tobacco cigarettes. They want to make vapor products more expensive than smoking. That is complete insanity to me that a smoker in California, it would make more sense fiscally and monetarily for that smoker to just continue smoking rather than switching to vaping because of the higher taxes on vapor products. That's criminal. Yeah, Vapor Odyssey, you make a great point there in the chat. He says, she, I don't know. Vapor Odyssey, it will make a larger black market on tobacco. Yeah, it will just make a larger black market on tobacco. We've seen this before. This is what happened in San Francisco. We know from the San Francisco vape ban that what did their vape ban accomplish in San Francisco? Was it any less youth smoking? Was it any less youth vaping? The answer is no to both of those. We know in New York, I can't remember the guy's name. I don't even know how to approach this. Killed by police officers for selling loose cigarettes. He was selling loose cigarettes on the black market of New York City, had a run-in with police officers, which he wouldn't have needed to do had these regulations and rules not been in place. Could have avoided that run-in with the police completely, but it forced this interaction with the police. Guy ended up dying. Guy that filmed it went to jail. For what? For tobacco tax money? For MSA money? I'd love to spend another Tuesday Bro Tuesday. Maybe the next Tuesday Bro Tuesday we'll talk about the MSA, because the MSA isn't in and of itself a bad thing. It's just become a bad thing. And I want to clarify some things on that. Eliyetti, a pack of cigs in Israel costs $13. Yeah. It's like that everywhere. The price just keeps going up. And if you're addicted to nicotine, especially if you're addicted to cigarettes, you're just going to pay it. You're just going to pay it. And they know that. They know that you're just going to continue to pay it. So we got an article here from the Denver Post talking about HB 1427. And there's one part here that I really wanted to share. The bill calls for asking voters to increase the cigarette tax from 1 cent to 6.5 cents until July 1st, 2024. It increases in increments. You see, increments. Hang on a second. I'm not okay with this. There we go. Oh, that's so much better. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. Incremental, increasing to 8 cents July 1st, 2027, and then increasing it to 10 cents overall. The tax on other tobacco products, such as chewing tobacco, would increase from 20% of the manufacturer's list price to 30% July 1st, 2024, then to 36% July 1st, 2027, and then to 42%. That's not even the craziest part. That's crazy, but that's not even the craziest part. It would also create a tax on nicotine products such as vape products. Oh, I wish I could have highlighted that a little more smoothly. I can't do it. Vape products that would be equal to 50% of the manufacturer's list price until July 1st, 2024, 56% until July 1st, 2027, and 62% after July 1st, 2027. That would make the minimum price for a cigarette pack $7, okay? $7 in Colorado for a pack of cigarettes, which, look, if you're a smoker, that doesn't seem crazy. Maybe it's a little bit more money, but over time, that really adds up, and people are, like I said, people are just going to pay it. People are just going to pay it. Now, if you're a smoker in the state of Colorado, and let's say you're interested in vaping, and we're just going to use Juul. Massachusetts has a 75% tax. That's insane. On vapor products, that's unbelievable. Massachusetts is worse than California and Colorado. That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. And it's going to seem even crazier once we get into what all of these health organizations actually have to say about vaping. Like these comments that have kind of been swept under the rug, and they come out publicly very much against vaping, but behind the scenes, even FDA, even CDC have positive things to say about vaping, which kind of makes you wonder, why aren't they saying those things about vaping now? It's criminal. Chip. Dude, I could not agree with you more. It is criminal. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Vapors Odyssey. I never want to assume. It's criminal. It's completely criminal. So even just taking a look at the price of Juul, right? Not saying that every smoker should switch to a Juul, although if you do, you'll greatly improve your health and overall health, and you'll accidentally quit smoking. A pack of cigarettes in Colorado is $7. So if you buy 4 packs of cigarettes, let's do some quick math, because 7 times 4, let's see, I'm math A over here. So 7 times 4, $28. 4 packs of cigarettes would be $28. If you wanted to switch to a Juul, a 4-pack of Juul pods is $20, which means that in Colorado, a 4-pack of Juul pods is going to be over $40 after July 1st, 2024, and actually probably $40 and some change. So as a smoker, why on earth would you want to even attempt vaping? Why would you even want to switch to vaping? Looking at those taxes, going, wow, this 4-pack of Juul pods is $20, but the tax is another $20. So now I'm out $40 for the equivalent of 4 packs of cigarettes that I can buy 4 packs of cigarettes for $28. They've actually made the harm reduction more expensive than the product the known killer, the product that causes direct harm to people and your lungs and communities and COPD and emphysema and death and strokes and heart disease and all this horrible stuff. They don't ban them. They just leave them on the market, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm a freedom guy. If you want to smoke, smoke. If you want to vape, now it's going to cost you twice the amount in Colorado to smoke or to vape rather than to smoke traditional combustible tobacco cigarettes. That just seems... That hurts my brain. That hurts my brain. And there's no, I'm bad at analogies, and I'm trying to think of an analogy that would make sense in my head, but it doesn't. There's no analogy, pardon me, burp life, that makes sense in my head. I'm trying to think of like something, what's something that causes headaches? I don't know. No, that doesn't work. Advil, that doesn't really work. I always try to find like a car analogy, like, well, it's like if you have a car and, you're, I don't know. I can't think of any really good analogies. That's okay if you're late, vaping case. I appreciate you being here. In California, bill to add tax to vaping products was really so they could change the state constitution. Well, hang on. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit. I don't know much about that. I'm not going to pretend to know much about that. Hit me up later. About that. You're on the Discord, right? Hit me up on the Discord about that. I don't know what that is. Let's post in the news and advocacy on the Discord. Welcome, Sergio. I appreciate you being here. It's insane to me that Massachusetts, apparently Colorado, and California are all making vapor products more expensive than the known killer, than deadly combustible tobacco cigarettes. If you're a citizen, it is more cost effective and makes more fiscal sense to smoke than to vape. Thank you, states. Thank you, Colorado. Thank you, California. Thank you, Massachusetts. Wow, really appreciate that. Thank you. Unbelievable. So I'm going to put a link in the description to this Denver Post article. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Eventually, right now, Lancaster Vapor, a pack of cigarettes in California is about $8, I think. I don't know. I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes in a really long time. I know that according to this article, a pack of cigarettes in Colorado, $7. $7. I don't know. YouTube's weird. YouTube's acting weird, and the chat looks frozen to me. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to keep powering through. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of a ridiculous thing. There you go. There it is in the chat. There, I'll have it in the description of this video as well. Let's get to some of these. Let's do a few of these super chats here. There's one more here from Jake Scrapwood. Very gracious of you. I appreciate that, Jake. And now we know, and knowing is half the battle. Yes, man. I didn't know that Metallica covered a Misfits song that covered a Anti-Nowhere League song. Had no idea. No idea at all. John Haymaker, yes, we can raise hell with government officials about that. Whoever's running it can demand they do something about the MSA criminal scheme. Here's the thing. I didn't necessarily want to get into the MSA today. Hang on, I'm trying to get back to YouTube here. Because my YouTube just straight up froze. I didn't want to get into the MSA thing today, but the MSA isn't... It was set up truly and honestly with the best intentions in mind. The best intentions in mind. It was one of the people, one of my, person who I talk about constantly on Tuesday Bro Tuesday and the vlog is Iowa Attorney General Tom Miller. He had a big hand in getting the master settlement agreement done to fruition. He had a big hand in that. And it started off as a very, positive thing. It was supposed to be a good thing for the states. The problem is states did not use the MSA money for what the MSA money was used for. States like Alaska in the MSA used it for building shipping docks. California used it to build golf courses. All of the MSA money, at least as much of the MSA money as possible, as guided by the CDC, was supposed to be spent on tobacco prevention programs, right? But it's not in the state's best interest to spend that money on tobacco prevention programs, because if they spent that money on tobacco prevention programs and those programs were successful and cigarette sales actually went down in their state, then they would lose MSA money. New York, because of vaping, has already lost loads of MSA money. In fact, let's talk about the MSA next week. New York's going to default on these bonds that they sold to Wall Street based on future tobacco cigarette sales in the state. They borrowed money and now they owe money, and they're going to default on these bonds unless they can find a way to either roll vaping into the MSA, which seems like a long shot, a very long shot, or get people smoking again. Get those tobacco sales up so that they don't default on their bonds, so the state doesn't go fucking bankrupt. The MSA started off as a very good thing and became a very perverse thing as soon as states got a taste of that money. Remember, stay hydrated, hydro homies. Lawless Vapors is telling me via Super Chat, Vermont has a 96%. Okay, that is beyond ridiculous, Lawless Vapors. Vermont wins. That is insanity to me. 95% vape tax. So that means, good Lord, what are you paying for a pack of Juul pods in Vermont if they're even legal there? Are Juul pods even legal in the state of Vermont? I have no idea. 95%. Well, that just seems so ridiculous. That's right now. Imagine over the years, they've just constantly raised tobacco taxes. Constantly. I remember being a young smoker, and for $20, you could fill up your gas tank and get a couple of packs of cigarettes, I remember that. And then they just keep raising the tobacco taxes and keep raising the tobacco taxes and keep raising the tobacco taxes and keep raising the tobacco taxes. If they're at 96% vape tax in Vermont right now, that's just the beginning. This is the case of they've opened the door, the tax has been passed, now they can raise it to whatever they want. 200%, 300%. Why not? Just keep going. Just make vaping so expensive that no smoker would ever possibly want to quit, even though they could really quickly and really easily. Cheers. This is the Modi Pin. Might do a review for it. All I can say is smokers are probably going to love the crap out of this thing. Yeah, I've been having a little bit of salt nick lately. That's okay. Oh, Southern Comfort. Here we go. We got Southern Comfort here with some more information for me. Okay, so here's the deal. All right. I'm paying attention. Misfits never covered So What. Metallica did poorly. Metallica also covered songs Die My Darling and Last Caress. Last Caress. That's where the confusion is. Metallica sucks. Okay, well, we can agree to disagree on Metallica sucking because they're one of my favorite bands of all time. They did cover... Okay, that's exactly what I'm getting confused on. Thank you, Southern Comfort. I was confusing So What with Last Caress. The Misfits did Last Caress originally. Then Metallica covered it. Okay, now we're on the same page. Now we're both on the trolley. How do you not like Metallica? Like, even the old stuff, put on Ride the Lightning and tell me that's not awesome. Like, I get it if at Load, like they lost you. If at Load, you're kind of like, Metallica, whatever, Load, Reload, Death Magnetic, Saint Anger, which is, I don't love every Metallica album, but overall, Metallica is one of my favorite bands of all time. They changed the genre of metal single-handedly, not single-handedly, but almost single-handedly changed the genre of metal, brought it to the mainstream. Ralph Toll, oh, very gracious of you, Ralph Toll. Thank you for the, what do we got there? Dancing Fox kind of looking guy. Dancing Fox kind of looking guy there, Ralph Toll. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, Ralph Toll. Well, looks like things are freezing again on my end. So let's jump forward a little bit here into, I want to thank, where did he go? I want to thank Charles Gardner here. I want to thank Charles Gardner. He's a great dude. He's a hardcore advocate for harm reduction and nicotine vaping out there on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, definitely 100% follow him. But this is the pinned tweet at the top of his profile. 1.1 billion smokers worldwide. If you quit, health begins to improve immediately. Smoking is the #1 cause of preventable cancer, heart, and lung diseases. These scientific and public health orgs have reviewed the evidence, and they say vaping nicotine is safer. And what he did I like this tweet? I'm just going to like this tweet real fast. Let's like that tweet real fast. What he did is he put this all on a Google Drive. And it's kind of incredible because not only is it all on a Google Drive, but it is hyperlinked so that you can click on any of these. So what we're going to do is we're kind of just going to go through these. And this is going to show us what every health org kind of worldwide and kind of in the United States as well, really their true and actual stance on vaping, regardless of what you hear in the media. And this was something that Michelle Mitten said in a live stream as well for Reason Magazine. But you're going to notice the difference between the way that the United Kingdom communicates with their citizens and the way that the United States communicates with their citizens. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse into the ground here, but what you're going to notice is that in other countries, in the United Kingdom and things like this, they just put the facts out there. They say, here's A, B, C, D, E, here's the facts, here's where we're at, here's the facts. In the United States, we don't get that. We don't get that from our mainstream media. All we get from the mainstream media and politicians in general is what? Messaging. Messaging. Optics. Here's the truth, right? Here's the truth of it. Here's the science and the truth of it, but here's how we're going to present it, and that might be a little bit different or maybe a tad disingenuous from what the actual truth is, what the actual science says. It's like when Scott Gottlieb came out in 2017 and just declared an epidemic of youth vaping. Epidemic of youth vaping. And I got on YouTube and I said, Scott, buddy, I like your socks. Mind proving that epidemic? No, we're just going to take your word for it. We don't get to see the data yet. We don't get to see the National Youth Tobacco Survey yet. Haven't released it yet, but we're going to trust you that you've deciphered it enough to declare an epidemic. Prove it. Prove the epidemic. Prove the epidemic. Green-eyed lady, you're making a great point in chat. But is there any proposed tax on nicotine gum or nicotine patches? As far as I know, no. As far as I know, no. There's no proposed tax on nicotine gum or nicotine patches. It's literally, not surprisingly, just vaping that they're going after. Just vaping that they're going after. Because that's what cuts into cigarette sales. NRTs have not cut into cigarette sales because they're very ineffective and people dual use all the time, so they're still buying their cigarettes. And what we got from Scott Gottlieb was the message, his agenda messaging that there is a youth vaping epidemic. You're just going to have to trust me. No, you cannot see the data. He did not need to prove it. Because as soon as he said youth epidemic, everyone started saying youth epidemic, and all the media outlets picked up on this epidemic term, and it just became part of the verbiage, part of the messaging that there was an epidemic and nobody needed to prove anything. I wanted Scott to prove it. He didn't need to. Never had to. Didn't prove it, never had to. Jim Williamson in chat. What kills me here is in Kentucky, $10 will get you a bag of tobacco box of tubes, and that's insane that equals about 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes. Whoa. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess roll your own, you know. That's always been the cheaper way to do it. Messaging. Let's see what the World Health Organization has to say about, if you've been with us here on Tuesday Bro Tuesday for a little bit, you're not going to be super surprised by this, but the World Health Organization right here, there is conclusive evidence that completely substituting, why can't I highlight anything on here? Oh, I can't highlight the hyperlink? Oh, that's stupid. There's conclusive evidence that's completely substituting electronic nicotine and non-nicotine delivery systems for combustible tobacco cigarettes reduces users' exposure to numerous toxicants and carcinogens present in combustible tobacco cigarettes. What? Okay, fine. Yeah, it takes you to the PDF, and this is the PDF that we had talked about, I think on Tuesday Bro Tuesday last week or a few weeks ago. If I remember where it is, it's down here on page 20-something or other. Man, Google Chrome is acting weird lately. Google Chrome, I find it hard to believe that Google Chrome will load YouTube the worst. And I tried to set up, here it is. There is conclusive evidence, we shared this last week, completely substituting EN and NNDS for combustible tobacco cigarettes reduces the user's exposure to numerous toxicants and carcinogens present in combustible tobacco cigarettes. Where does the World Health Organization publicly stand on vaping? Well, with that influx of Bloomberg money, you can bet your ass that they're completely against it. Completely against it. And this is the same World Health Organization that said e-liquid was highly flammable. We did some rudimentary science on the vlog a few weeks ago, good Lord, months ago, that kind of disproved that e-liquid, I mean, we all knew that. We know that propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin are not flammable, much less highly flammable, but that didn't stop the World Health Organization from just saying it, and they didn't need any evidence. They didn't need to back it up because the World Health Organization is some big trusted health organization. Oh, that's a 75% wholesale tax in Massachusetts. Green-eyed lady, thank you for correcting. Wholesale tax. So Public Health England, we know this. Our new review reinforces the finding that vaping is a fraction of the risk of smoking, at least 95% less harmful, and negligible risk to bystanders. Negligible risk to bystanders. That's something that I keep saying bystanders, and I know that's incorrect, so I apologize. Negligible risk to bystanders. All you're going to see in the United States, get on Google at any point and Google secondhand vapor. It's just crazy fear-mongering propaganda based on nothing, based on no science, based on some retracted studies, based on zero. They tell you that, and they make this correlation in your head, because secondhand smoke is really bad for you, even though some of the science recently shows that secondhand smoke isn't as bad as we thought. Still bad, not as bad. We use some pretty bad science to pass some pretty extensive smoking bans in the United States. But here we have Public Health England saying negligible risk to bystanders. Yet, over half of smokers either falsely believe that vaping is as harmful as smoking or just don't know. This links directly to the original. Why am I getting these redirect notices now? That's really bizarre. Public Health England publishes independent expert e-cigarette evidence review. Here's what you're going to find. Data. Here's all the facts right there. No messaging needed. Vaping poses only a small fraction of the risk of smoking, with switching completely to smoking faces substantial health benefits. It's right there, black and white. Public Health England. Royal College of Physicians. We know what the Royal College of Physicians thinks, and if you click this link, Why do I keep getting these redirect notices? That's really bizarre. I didn't get these the first time I was clicking on these. Here's the original report. The original Royal College of Physicians Nicotine Without Smoke Tobacco Harm Reduction. Tobacco harm reduction. That's really what it's about. British Medical Association, there are clear potential benefits to e-cigarette use in reducing the substantial harms associated with smoking, and a growing consensus that they are significantly less harmful than tobacco use. See, today's not exactly a ragey day. Today's not exactly a ragey day because we got a lot of good information right here. Cancer Research UK. Evidence so far indicates that e-cigarettes are far less harmful than smoking. There is also growing evidence to suggest that e-cigarettes can work successfully as an aid in cessation. There is insufficient evidence to support a blanket indoor ban on e-cigarette use, either on the basis of renormalization or smoking or harm to bystanders from secondhand vapor. Do you think that's anything that we would ever hear in the United States of America, where everything becomes a political ideology, a political platform for people to stand on? They're going to stand on vaping. It's crazy. Only in America. Cancer Research UK says there's really not a lot of evidence to support blanket indoor e-cigarette bans, either based on the renormalization of smoking or harm to bystanders from secondhand vapor. No data, no evidence, insufficient evidence to support these types of bans. But what do we get in the United States? Yep, bans, usage bans everywhere. You can't vape on a beach in California because it's a detriment to public health. You can't vape on a beach in California. What does the British Lung Foundation have to say about it? There is more evidence than ever that e-cigarettes are safer than smoking and a way to give up altogether. Swapping cigarettes for an e-cig can improve your symptoms of lung conditions like asthma and COPD. Again, what do we get in the United States? No, we get pediatricians in Florida who are continuing to conflate EVALI with legal nicotine vaping and saying things like, oh, vaping, makes COVID worse, even though there's no evidence to show that. In fact, a lot of the evidence shows the exact opposite of that, but that doesn't stop opportunistic people in the United States, opportunistic people in power in the United States from pushing their anti-vaping agenda. For what reason? I don't know. I can only speculate that it's because they want as many citizens as possible smoking cigarettes. Like, that is literally the only logical conclusion I can come to. It's insane. Stay hydrated, hydro homies. 4 packs of cigarettes in New Jersey right now are $40. Oh, okay. So Ranger Rusty's about spot on with that math right there. If that's correct, then in New Jersey, yeah, that would cost the same. Vaping and cigarettes would cost, roughly about the same, depending on how you vape. I just use Juul as an example because it's Juul, right? It's available everywhere. Mostly available everywhere. But it's like a good benchmark. It's hard to translate stuff like that into e-liquid bottles. It's just difficult. Let's see what the Royal College of Practitioners has to say about vaping. The evidence so far shows that e-cigarettes have significantly reduced levels of key toxicants compared to cigarettes, an average level of exposure falling well below the threshold for concern. Well below the threshold of concern. The Royal Society for Public Health endorses New Public Health England's report reflecting up-to-date evidence that is increasingly pointing in the same direction. Not only is vaping at least 95% less harmful than smoking, but it's also helping increasing numbers of smokers to quit. ASH, Action on Smoking and Health UK. It has been estimated that e-cigarettes are 95% less harmful than smoking. There is harmful than ordinary cigarettes. The lifetime cancer risk of vaping has been assessed to be under 0.5% of the risk of smoking. There is negligible risk to others from secondhand e-cigarette vapor, but while evidence of the relatively low health risks posed by e-cigarettes has grown over time, so has public misunderstanding of these risks. Are we freezing? Is everybody freezing out? Yeah, YouTube sucks. I don't know if I want to deal with this for another vlog. Why does everything keep freezing? How's it? You guys doing okay? Everybody frozen? I don't know why I clicked that. Let's go live now. Let's get back to my stream. Of course, it's going to hang because YouTube. Okay, there we go. Now we're back on track. NHS. National Health Services, Scotland. So we're finally getting out of the United Kingdom and into Scotland. This statement was created and endorsed by all of these people. Action on Smoking and Health Scotland, Cancer Research UK, Chest, Heart and Stroke Scotland, Chief Medical Officer for Scotland, NHS Ayrshire and Arran, NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, NHS Royal Castle Lung Foundation, Royal College of General Practitioners, Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh, Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow, Royal Environmental Health Institute of Scotland, Scottish Collaboration for Public Health Research and Policy, Scottish Consultants in Dental Health, Scottish Thoracic Society, UK Centre for Tobacco and Alcohol Studies, the University of Edinburgh, and the University of Stirling. National Health Services Scotland consensus statement on e-cigarettes. Smoking kills. Helping people to stop smoking is completely is our priority. There is now agreement based on the current evidence that vaping e-cigarettes is definitely less harmful than smoking tobacco. But all of you health physicians and surgeons and universities and societies and royal health institutes. But so what? Right? So effing what? Let's do a couple super chats here. I'd read them if YouTube wasn't completely frozen right now. There they are. Hey, look at that. Still not going to be able to see them all. I might miss some here. I see an avatar up there. I can't get to it. I can't read it. Oh, look, it froze again. Why does YouTube freeze on Google's own browser? YouTube is borky, but you are not. You and the information are present are more than worth the freezing. Look, I appreciate that. I just don't want anyone to take off and go nuts to this because it keeps freezing. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I followed YouTube's rules. I used the right bit rates and the right audio bit rates and everything like that. Okay, let's do a few of these super chats here now that they've loaded. An advocate for liberty. Thanks to me and others, flavored vape is still legal for now. Please go to hearings. Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. One of the times I went to one of the LA County flavor ban hearings, there was only a few vapors there. There's only like 3 or 4 vapors there. It was kind of really a bummer. If there's a hearing, go to it. What the problem that we're running into now is places like California and places like Colorado. These things happen behind closed doors where they don't allow the public to come in and comment, or no public feedback or anything like that. No subject matter experts get to speak in any capacity. And yeah, I absolutely agree. An advocate for liberty. Go to hearings. Be loud. Go to hearings. Do everything you can to fight against this. Stay hydrated as well. Southern Comfort. No. Okay, we're talking about Metallica. That's right. Me and Southern Comfort are talking about Metallica. Just talk amongst yourselves. No, they lost me when Lars was whining about Napster in 1999. That's not very metal of him. Yeah. Here's the thing. I get it. I understand why they were upset. I would have been pissed off too, and you would have been pissed off too. If you were in a a band and you made money from record sales, and then a program came out that just allowed people to steal all of your art and all of your work and your entire catalog of music, you'd be pretty pissed off. I think Lars was justified. I don't think that was whining. I think that was justified. I think that was an artist protecting their work that artists should be getting paid for. 100%. And look, I've pirated music. I don't know a person that hasn't pirated music. But I think Lars was justified. And look, it left a bad taste in my mouth too at that time, because it was whatever at that time. But in retrospect, I think Lars was justified. Patches O'Hooligan, with everything going on, you'd think more people would be interested in actual empirical data. You would think so, Patches, but the problem is, again, we're just so used to messaging, and we're so used to reading a headline without reading the article. As long as the headline reinforces your, previous thoughts about it, then you don't need evidence. We're asked to blindly trust leaders. We're asked to blindly trust politicians. We were asked to blindly trust Scott Gottlieb and the FDA when he declared an epidemic, and he didn't need to prove it. They didn't need to prove it. The World Health Organization doesn't need to prove it. The American Lung Association, the American Cancer Society, the American Heart Association, they don't need to prove it because they're perceived as these trustworthy organizations. When really, we're going to get to that in a second, but really is, Light Bear, very gracious of you. That was some idiot in a lab, wicked an RDA wrong, got a little flame, and was like, it's flames, and they ran with it. Pathetic. Yeah, here's the thing. Yes. It's flammable. Oh, okay. Why does it do that? Why is YouTube terrible? Can anybody answer me this question? And they ran with it. It's pathetic. Yeah, that's it. But even if it is flammable, they said highly flammable. That means so flammable that it can accidentally just combust like on its own with temperature. It's impossible. Living Hints, very gracious of you. $0 from HZ. HZ. I don't know what that means, Living Hints, but really do appreciate it. Fiber Frenzy. Price of drugs, cancer treatment equals $. Yeah. Look, if you mean to tell me that there's no money in sick people, that's crazy. I agree with you, Fiber Frenzy. Did we all read about that poor guy in Seattle who spent like 2 months in a hospital? 70-year-old dude, had COVID, defeated COVID, got a clean bill of health, and also a 150-page bill that was over $1 million. They literally put a price on this man's life. Literally. And it was $1 million. $1 million. $1 million. He was a millionaire married to a playmate whining about pennies. Here's the thing. That doesn't matter. That matters zero to me. It's the principle of it. It's the principle of it. Even if you're a millionaire, and look, if it was us in that situation, if it was Southern Comfort in that situation, or if it was me in that situation and I was a millionaire and people were thieving my music, and my record sales went down a little bit, it's kind of like, okay. I mean, I paid a lot of money. If you want to have some music for free, have some music for free. But that should be up to the person. That should be up to me putting my stuff out for free, not people stealing your work for free. It's the principle of it. Even if what if he spent all his money? I don't know. How do you spend millions of dollars? We're going to have to agree to disagree on this. It doesn't matter if he was a millionaire or married to a playmate. It's the principle of it. It's still theft. What he brought to the forefront of the news was intellectual property rights. The bands own their music. I own my art. I own my music. And you don't get to just steal it. That's what he did. Lee, very gracious of you. Dr. John Cooper Clarke's poem, Twit, sums up Kumo, so what? Okay, well now I have something else to Google here, Lee. Now I have to Google that. Southern Comfort, and they butchered legendary punk rock songs. Okay, look, I'm not going to defend that. They did butcher some shit. And I cannot forgive Metallica for releasing Saint Anger, because have you heard Saint Anger? It's literally awful. They butchered legendary punk rock songs. Did they butcher them, or did they more like pay homage to them? Did they pay homage to them? Interesting question to bring up. I like chatting with you, Southern Comfort. I like that we disagree on things. That's kind of my favorite thing of all time. Let's get back to, we got about a half hour left to go here in this Tuesday, Bro Tuesday. There was another super chat here from Lee. Oh, yeah. Dr. John Cooper Clarke's poem. Is that twat? I'm assuming that's twat. T-W-A-T. I'm going to have to look into that. I appreciate that. Let's see what New Zealand... What do you think New Zealand has to say about vaping? New Zealand Ministry of Health says vaping and smokeless tobacco products are less harmful to users than tobacco products that are smoked. There is an opportunity through better regulation and public information to support smokers to switch to significantly less harmful alternatives, substantially reducing the risk to their health and to those around them. Spectacular, New Zealand. Spectacular. New Zealand is one of the very few, apart from the UK, very, very pro vaping, pro harm reduction sort of countries in the world. U.S. National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. While e-cigarettes are not without health risks, they are likely to be far less harmful than combustible tobacco cigarettes. Now, here's where we're getting into places like FDA, and this is one of the things that annoys me about FDA. So far, everybody has used the terminology e-cigarettes, right? Two words, vaping or e-cigarettes. I know, Sean, it doesn't freeze on your end. It freezes on my end. YouTube just makes it difficult for me, the streamer. They only make it difficult for me, the streamer, to stream. And the viewer just goes, wait, Nick, what are you talking about? Everything looks fine over here. It's just shut up about the freezing. I can't, it's frozen right now on the back end. I'm posed like this. And then there's just a circle going like this. The super chats are frozen and my chat is frozen. So what I have to do is I have to literally close the browser, reopen YouTube, re-navigate to the back end, re-navigate to this live stream so that I can see the super chats, so that I can see my own stream. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate that. U.S. Food and Drug Administration is about to chime in here on vaping, and this is one of the things that annoys me. Everybody before this, Ministry of Health New Zealand, Scotland, Royal College of Physicians, Cancer Research UK, the U.S. National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, they use two terminologies, e-cigarettes and vaping. E-cigarettes and vaping. But no, the FDA has to now create this new nomenclature called ENDS. E-N-D-S. For what reason? I don't know. To make things more confusing for everybody involved? Make no mistake. We see the possibility for ENDS products like e-cigarettes to provide a potentially less harmful alternative for current addicted individual adult smokers who still want to get access to satisfying levels of nicotine without many of the harmful effects that come with the combustion of tobacco. Isn't that just the most fucking wishy-washy, nonsensical, just head in the sand, just ignoring the evidence, ignoring the Royal College of Physicians, ignoring the 65,000 doctors and surgeons worldwide that support the Royal College of Physicians, ignoring all of the empirical evidence from RCP and from the Cancer Research UK. They even use wishy-washy terminology like e-cigarettes provide potentially less harmful alternative. It's a potentially less harmful alternative where literally everybody else in the world is saying, yes, vaping is less harmful than smoking, but the US FDA has to rename them ends and say that they're only potentially less harmful. That is fucking infuriating. What does the CDC have to say about it? Well, the CDC says e-cigarettes have the potential to benefit adult smokers who are not pregnant if used as a complete substitute for regular cigarettes and other smoked tobacco products. They're always sure to stress that completely substitute. You know, they don't want any dual users. You either vape or you smoke, but you can't transition. It can't be hard for you to transition. You can't struggle with this, okay? You can't vape most of the time, and then when you're really feeling it, when the craving just really takes over and you gotta have a cigarette, no, you can't. I'm here to say, yes, you can. There's no rules for vaping. You can't use vaping incorrectly. If you cut down on your cigarette consumption with vaping, that is a win. There's just no way around it. If you need to vape and smoke for a year before you can switch and quit completely, then that's what you do. You need to meet people where they're at. You can't throw these quit or die ultimatums on them. It's insane to me that they even threw that little backhanded terminology in there. Oh my gosh, that makes me insane. So now we're going to get to the American Cancer Society, and this is why I decided to make them the subject of this thumbnail, because it's the American Cancer Society, you know? The American Cancer Society. How is the American Cancer Society not on board with harm reduction yet? How is this tobacco harm reduction is just such a foreign concept to the American Cancer Society? What does the American Cancer Society have to say? Based on current available evidence, using current generation e-cigarettes is less harmful than smoking cigarettes. Yes. Also, a note in here from Charles Gardner. This was the official statement in 2018. American Cancer Society changed its official statement in November 2019. What happened in November 2019? What happened in November 2019? I think, where's my tinfoil hat? I think that's when Mike Bloomberg, you know, the nanny of our country, who said that large sodas should be banned in New York City. He didn't want New York citizens to have access to large sodas. If that's not the most like governmental overreaching nanny state bullshit I've ever heard in my life, wasn't that right around when Mike Bloomberg said he donated $160 million to ban flavored vaping products? Just kind of putting two and two together here. It no longer recommends e-cigarettes as a smoking cessation tool. The stated reason for this change was e-cigarette use by young people. So let me get this right, American Cancer Society. In 2018, you said, based on current available evidence, that e-cigarettes are less harmful than smoking. But because e-cigarettes started getting used by young people, then they stopped being less harmful? How does that work? The science didn't change. In fact, right around that same time, November 2019, the Royal College of Physicians and Public Health England had to reiterate their stance and say, yes, vaping is still less harmful than smoking. American Cancer Society, still less harmful than smoking. Because there was an uptick in youth use, suddenly e-cigarettes are not less harmful than smoking. Illegal underage use is undesirable, but does not change the fact the original finding that nicotine vaping is less harmful than smoking. This is why I say this to the American Cancer Society. You're the American Cancer Society. You should be on board with tobacco harm reduction. You said that vaping and e-cigarettes were less harmful in 2018, and then suddenly in 2019, because of some youth use, now e-cigarettes and vaping are suddenly not less harmful. That's the message that the American Cancer Society is putting out there. That is insane. Oh my God, that is insane to me. That is beyond insane to me. How? How, American Cancer Society? How and why? And how? And why? Shameful. Shameful, American Cancer Society. Completely shameful. 100%, 2,000% shameful right there. You're the American Cancer Society. You don't just get to say, oh, look, available evidence. Yeah. E-cigarettes are less harmful than smoking cigarettes. I mean, every other public health org in the known world is saying that. You know, New Zealand is saying that. The United Kingdom is saying that. You know, tens of thousands of doctors and physicians worldwide are saying that. The stated reason, their reasoning for their change in policy was use by young people. If young people start using seatbelts, does that make seatbelts less useful? If young people start taking Advil for their headaches, does Advil suddenly magically change and stop helping headaches, stop being a pain reliever? Is that how science works? The American Cancer Society? I don't think so. I'm inclined to believe that that's not actually the way science works. So, shame on the American Cancer Society. Stay hydrated, hydro homies. Southern Comfort. We always agree to disagree. Yeah, you're fighting the good fight for all us sinners out there, so you and I are good as usual. Yeah, dude, we're always good. We're always good, Southern Comfort. I've never said in my head, wish fucking Southern Comfort wasn't here. I wish he would just go away. No, absolutely not. I like having these discussions with you. I like having my opinions challenged. I like having my opinions challenged. I like having my viewpoints challenged. I just really like it. I want to learn from it, and I want to move forward. And honestly, you know, the butchering of the punk songs, that kind of really sticks with me. That kind of really does stick with me. They were fans, I guess, you know? Appreciate you, Southern Comfort. Big Lou, 5150. Hey, Nick, love your show. Dave Mustaine changed metal forever. Metallica got lucky. Oh, is that what you think? Here's the thing. Look, Dave Mustaine did change a lot of metal. What Metallica did for metal was more than what Dave Mustaine did for metal. Metallica got metal in the mainstream. Metallica got metal on MTV, like mainstream MTV, not relegated to after 1 a.m. with Ricky Rackman and the Headbangers Ball. This was Metallica on MTV. That's what Metallica did for metal. Metallica just cultivated a huge swaths of fans into the world of metal. Metallica introduced fans to Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Iron Maiden, all these other metal bands out there, Judas Priest. Metallica did that. So Dave Mustaine might have been more metal and written more cooler metal songs, and I'll give him that. I think, you know, there's some Megadeth I like more than I like some Metallica songs, but Metallica changed the game. Metallica changed the game. Live in Hints, very gracious of you. Do a super thing for certain someone today and then try it again tomorrow for another. Look, yeah, I mean, that's really good advice. Are you asking me specifically to do a super thing for a certain someone today and then try it again tomorrow for another? I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I appreciate that. Here's what I got to do. I got to close my YouTube. I got to go back to YouTube. I got to go back to the dashboard. I got to go back over here. I got to go to my live dashboard. I got to do this. Oh my God. And it freezes every time and just hangs like crazy. YouTube, like what the hell? What the actual crap? Let's see. Were there more after this? How's the Blotto Mini working out for you? Love you, man. Sure. Let's do a quick Blotto. Let's do a quick Blotto Mini update. Let's do a quick Blotto Mini update before we read through some more of these. Just a few more of these. There's just a few more. I just want to see where some more people stand on the subject of vaping and tobacco harm reduction. Quick little Blotto Mini update. Put the bubble glass on there. If you saw my Instagram story, I couldn't get the glass off. Straight up could not. It felt like it was glued to the top. I'll post a video on Thursday. On the vlog, we'll talk about this a little bit more. I put the bubble glass on here, and it's been rock and roll. It's been rock and roll. 0.15, 55 watts. It's a great little RTA. I guess I don't know why it exists, because with the bubble glass, it's still only 4 mils and it just rips through juice like crazy. With the straight glass on there, 2 mils, I counted. Look at this. I counted. Do you see how these? Oh no, you can't. See these hash marks? Those are puffs. Those are toots, as I say sometimes. Toots. You know how many toots it took to empty the straight glass tank on the Blotto Mini? 21. I took 21 drags and the tank was empty. I was refilling this every 21 drags. Now, the bubble glass takes it up to a 4 mil capacity, so I'm assuming that will double the amount of toots that I get, which means that on the Blotto Mini with the bubble glass and a full tank, you're getting about 40 toots before you need to refill it. 40 and some change. I was able to do like 3 or 4 more before the cotton was like really, really dry. 40 toots before you're refilling your tank. If you feel like that's worth it for a mini RTA, maybe. I will say, it vapes like a Blotto. It's got pretty good flavor, pretty good airflow. I was just shocked with the straight glass on there that it only took 21 toots to empty that tank completely. That was insane. So there you go. There you go. Update. There you go. Update. Trey Watt. Very gracious of you, Trey Watt. Now let's close this up. Let's keep this going. American Association of Public Health Physicians. American Association of Public Health Physicians. Smoke-free tobacco/nicotine products, while not risk-free, carry substantially less risk of death and may be easier to quit than cigarettes. Smokers who have tried but failed to quit using medical guidance and pharmaceutical products, and smokers unable or uninterested in quitting should consider switching to a less hazardous, smoke-free tobacco nicotine product for as long as they feel the need. Such products include nicotine replacement therapy, e-cigarettes, dissolvables, snus, moist snuff, and chewing tobacco. Does chewing tobacco carry less risk? I don't think that's super accurate. And I hate, again, this is the U.S. Association, the American Association. So you don't get the facts, you get their messaging. They could have just said, yes, e-cigarettes are less harmful than smoking. And if you're a smoker, you can switch to less harmful products right now and improve your health greatly. But they don't. They throw a bunch of stuff in there. It's like, well, if you failed already using one of these methods, which the chances of that are really, really high because NRTs are really, really ineffective. If pharmaceutical products haven't worked and you're still unable to quit, then you should consider maybe switching to a less harmful product, maybe such as an NRT, which don't really work, or an e-cigarette or snus. And look, I'm on board with all of that. Vaping, snus, moist snuff. I don't know about chewing tobacco. I feel like Skoal. Is that what they're referring to? I'm assuming that's what they're referring to as chewing tobacco. Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Psychiatrists Research shows that 70% of people with schizophrenia and 61% of people with bipolar disorder smoke compared to 16% of those without mental illness. E-cigarettes and vaporizers provide a safer way to deliver nicotine to those who are unable to stop smoking, thereby minimizing the harms associated with smoking tobacco and reducing some of the health disparities experienced by people with mental illness. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The Royal Australian College of Physicians. This is crazy to me. We're going to end this. Let's come back to Australia. Let's do it the government of Canada. Vaping is less harmful than smoking. Completely replacing cigarette smoking with vaping will reduce your exposure to harmful chemicals. There are short-term general health improvements if you completely switch from smoking cigarettes to vaping products. Yes. French National Academy of Pharmacy. The World Health Organization's anti-e-cigarette position is incomprehensible. Tobacco is responsible for 73,000 deaths in France. The e-cigarette helps people quit smoking. Its components are obviously less harmful than tobacco. Note, this is a tweet from the Académie Nationale de Pharmacie, not an official statement. Cochrane Tobacco Addiction Group. No serious side effects were associated with the use of e-cigarettes up to 2 years. There you go. So let's come back here to the Royal Australian College of Physicians. The RACP acknowledges that e-cigarettes may have a potential role in tobacco harm reduction and smoking cessation for smokers unable or unwilling to quit. Okay, I mean, great. Then why, if it has such a potential for tobacco harm reduction and smoking cessation for smokers unable or unwilling to quit, why do you need a prescription in Australia to even just vape? If you want to quit smoking with vaping in Australia, you have to get a prescription. That's crazy to me. And on top of that, I'm going to show you a tweet here from Alex Wodak, who is a harm reduction expert in Australia. I met him. I was able to meet him at the Oceania Expo in New Zealand. Doing good today, Forrest G. Appreciate you being here. Alex Wodak posted this tweet. The penalties in Australian states and territories for possession of nicotine for vaping without a valid doctor's prescription. Look at this. $45,000, $30,000, and or 2 years in prison. So if you're in Australia and you're just sitting in your house and you've got the Geek Vape Aegis Max with the Zeus tank and you're vaping some 3 milligram nicotine, and you go, yeah, I quit smoking. You know how I did it? With this. It was so simple, so super easy, and really enjoyable, and I quit smoking. If you're caught with this, $30,000 fine or 2 years in prison. $15,000 fine. South Australia, $10,000 fine. $15,000 fine or 12 months prison time. Queensland, Australia, $9,000 fine. New South Wales, $1,100 fine. Tasmania, I'm assuming that's what that is, $7,000 fine or 2 years in prison. Prison time for just having nicotine, for just having e-liquid. This bottle will just send you to prison in Australia, or a $45,000 fine. $45,000 fine. I have no words. I have no words. Breeze Tones, I feel sorry for Breeze Tones. I feel sorry for Bogan. I feel sorry for everybody in Australia that is a vapor or a smoker that has switched to vaping, and you don't have a prescription because you didn't jump through the hoops to get a prescription to buy bulk nicotine to add to your e-liquids. $30,000 fine or 2 years in prison. That's I mean, shit, that is truly and honestly, that's a crazy deterrent. That would be a deterrent for me. If in the United States, if they rolled out, if you are caught with possession of any e-liquid products, you will be fined $30,000 or spend 2 years in prison. That'd be it. I'd go, okay, you win, government. I am done vaping. I'm done vaping, and I'm sorry, and I can't afford $30,000 or 2 years in prison. That is a huge, huge deterrent. I mean, not me personally, because fuck the state, but for everybody else, I mean, that would destroy vaping. I'm surprised that there's still so many vapors in Australia. Surprised that there's still so many vapors in Australia. Unless they all have prescriptions, which I feel like is pretty rare. $45,000 fine. $45,000 fine. $45,000 fine. Oh shit. I mean, that's a deterrent. That's a deterrent. Forget about making vaping more expensive than smoking in Colorado, California, Massachusetts, and Vermont. In Australia, you get a fucking straight up fined. $30,000, $40,000, kind of varies by territory. You might spend 2 years in prison. You might spend 12 months in prison. Unreal. That's unbelievable to me. Well, I think that's where we're going to leave this. I'm going to post links in the description to everything I talked about. In fact, I'm also going to post a link in the description to, let's get rid of this Wodak tweet here, to Amanda Wheeler's Twitter. She is in Colorado. She's in Colorado. She is part of the Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance. So if you're a Colorado vapor or you're in Colorado, follow Amanda Wheeler on Twitter. Get hooked up with the Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance. She's one of the people like heading up the fight against this legislation in Colorado. Cool. In fact, here's the Rocky Mountain Smoke Free Alliance website. Here's our board members. We got Amanda and we got Sean. They're the two holding it down in Colorado, fighting against bad legislation. I'm also going to leave some other links in the description, like this one. This is from the New England Journal of Medicine. This is the randomized trial of e-cigarettes versus NRTs, where it shows that vapor products are almost twice as effective as any NRT currently on the market. We're going to put that down in the description. We're going to put this down in the description as well. This is from Sally Sadel, or Sally Satel. Sorry, I've been saying her name wrong. Sally Satel, just one of my favorite people on earth. The vaping overreactions. Politicians who ban flavors should brace for a surge in cigarette smoking and the use of questionable bootleg vaping products. This came out October 2019. Incredible article. Unbelievable article. And as well, I'm going to put the Save Ray Yates GoFundMe in the description to this video. So before we go ahead and end this video, we're just going to end this with whatever last of the super chats that there are. But thank you guys seriously so much for coming out. I love Tuesday Bro Tuesday. I like getting a little bit ranty and a little bit ragey about the news, and I hope that this is something that we can continue to do. If YouTube doesn't constantly freeze. Yeah, we can talk about Napster. We can talk about Glenn Danzig and how I thought that Danzig or the Misfits wrote So What, and they definitely didn't write that song. Thank you, Southern Comfort, for correcting me on that. Big Loot, there you go. We're caught up. We're caught up on super chats, so I believe that is where we are going to end. Disco Potato says, "Hey man, thank you for keeping the news fresh. It's much appreciated." I appreciate you, Disco Potato, more than you know. Thank you so much. Thank you, Legion Vapes. Thank you, The Irishman. Thank you, An Advocate for Liberty. VT had possession fines and even some jail time on the table when I started going to hearings. Good. Great. Yeah. Jail time. Yeah. Jail time for having a vapor product. Jail time for having a vapor product. That's where we're at now. You know, I talk about this fairly often, but I knew that this was going to be an uphill battle since I started vaping. I knew that this was going to be an uphill battle. I just didn't know how steep that was going to get. And it has got steep. And here's what I'm going to say. We're going to end this out. I'm going to say thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to say stay as informed as you possibly can. I'll be here next Tuesday with some more news for you. I'll be here at the vlog on Thursday. We're going to have a great time this Thursday. Really looking forward to it. And I'm going to say do everything you can to defend vaping. You don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something. We need all hands on deck. We need as much help as we can. Get on Twitter, get out there on social media, and speak your voice and make yourselves heard. Remember that at the end of the day, vaping works, and the overwhelming consensus is that vaping is at least 95% less harmful for you than traditional combustible tobacco cigarettes. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Be excellent to each other. I don't know why I picked this up. I kind of wanted to vape. Maybe I'll do a review for this soon. Thank you guys so much.